Every year I swear I'm not going to take this too seriously, and then
you get upset. I can see you're getting a little upset. Well, we're all friends here. Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to a special festive edition of the SportsPro podcast. Now, long-time listeners may recognise this voice, new-time listeners may frown with dismay, but my name is George Breare. I'm the former host of the SportsPro podcast, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by four editorial heavyweights with me today for our annual Christmas quiz. Now, gents, the famous phrase in the world of showbiz is that you play every venue twice, once on the way up and once on the way down. So it really is a treat to be back with you today. Tom, Steve, Sam and Ed, welcome back to the chaotic but the wonderful Christmas quiz.
George, I didn't think a comeback was going to be worse than Donald Trump this year, but here we are.
Thank you. Well, Ed Dixon did describe it off air just a moment ago as me being the turd that won't quite flush. So I'll take that as a compliment. Thanks, Steve.
Did ChatGPT write your intro? It was very good.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. Well, it didn't write my intro. That was all from the mouth of babes. But speaking of the mouth of babes, Tom, it's an emotional day, isn't it?
For you, maybe.
It is for me, actually. So we're returning to the hot mic, you and I, for the first time in a while, but also for almost certainly the last time ever.
Yep. This is my last ever SportsPro podcast. It's been a pleasure talking to you, dear listener, and working with some of you, I guess.
Just the one listener.
I've seen the numbers.
Wait, did anyone else know about this? I feel like this is... You actually leave it. Could have made an announcement, don't you?
We had to save it for legal reasons until today to announce it, but now it's all good to go.
Yeah, the investigation has concluded.
Yeah, what's it called? What's the legal injunction? Yeah, slap order. That's the big one.
Well, before we get into the quiz, it is worth being serious for a moment. Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure our listeners will miss you dearly as you gallivant your way around the world for a bit of travelling in the new year. But thank you very much for all your hard work. And hopefully, you can put a nice Christmas bow on your podcast experience by not putting in such a poor performance as the last few years in the quiz.
Thank you, mate. That is very kind of you to say. And I'm really going to miss doing this podcast. It's probably my favourite thing that I do.
Well, now we've all dried our eyes. Let's kick off with the Christmas quiz. So a reminder to everyone who is dead to come back from the last previous years. I doubt there's that many, but for those here for the first time, welcome. You're going to have a great time. But we'll be doing 3 rounds. It's fingers on buzzers, and typically for our mighty minds of the editorial team, that's usually quite a difficult concept, fingers on buzzers. So reminder, please, before any answer is given, I want to hear a buzz. Otherwise, it will not be allowed and a free pass will be given to the opposite team.
Bravo.
That's Steve's buzzer sound, apparently.
I'm not sure Ed can pronounce that.
Yeah.
We'll just go for ding.
Yeah, it might also be a struggle.
So ding for Steve and Ed, buzz for Tom and Sam. I probably should have said the teams before that. So we have Tom Bassam and Sam Carp as the mighty powerhouse of Sofa 1. And we have Steve McCaskill and Ed Dixon as the up-and-coming challengers, I'll say, from Sofa 2.
We've decided to call ourselves PES 6 Adriano, so that's our team name.
What's that? Pelistix Adriano?
PES 6, Provision Soccer?
No, unfortunately.
He's clearly a FIFA man.
Yeah.
Basically,
EAFC, Ed, I won't remind you again for legal reasons.
people listening, if they know PES 6 Adriano, they know.
So let's start before we go down any more rabbit warrens. So round 1 is fingers on buzzers to rip off a very popular quiz show, Who Wants to Be a SportsPro Millionaire? Quick fire answers, fastest fingers first, and we will see what you're made of. Question 1. Now, Sam, I'd hope you get this, considering your extensive period spent over the channel covering Paris 2024. But where did France finish in the Paris 2024 Olympic medal table?
4th.
I am going to pass it over to the other sofa. That is incorrect, Steve, unfortunately.
I have no idea. 3rd?
Incorrect. That's 1 point for George Breare as quizmaster.
Too busy paying attention to the business of it, mate, not what's actually happening.
Exactly. It was 5th.
Oh, disappointing.
Is that from a national point of view?
Yeah, I'd say so. Let themselves down there.
Le Bassam.
So if we think they've let themselves down, I will give a bonus point, as is my want and my privilege to do so, and as I like doing in these kind of quiz.
Here we go.
Bonus point for the 4 nations that finished above Paris. I'm sorry, I finished above France.
Ding.
4. I'll take a swing at it.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, he's got his ding in. Yeah.
He's been here before. He knows what he's doing.
The USA,
Correct.
China,
Correct.
Japan.
Incorrect.
Oh, we've got to hand it over now.
You can hand it. Yeah,
So
hand
what
it
does that
over.
mean?
I
Okay,
can find. But I'm saying Australia was one of them.
Correct.
So we got
USA, China, and Australia so far.
As always happens, I'm now doubting myself whether I actually got the right answer when you guys take this much time to answer.
who was winning all the medals, mate? Come on, you were watching every.
You had the Discovery Plus subscription.
I did love Discovery Plus, and yeah, if anyone at Discovery's listening, I will still take free subscriptions after I've left. Let's go GB.
Correct. Look at that. France finished 5th after the USA, China, GB, and then Australia.
Yes, we were.
No, we're not.
What table are you looking at?
Are you looking
Are you
at
looking at the
2020?
Paralympics?
God's sake. I may well have been, actually.
Have you looked at the...
Oh,
That'd
no.
be an incredible start to the podcast. George has looked
This
at
is
the
literally
wrong table.
Because this is 100% staying in. I'm just going to say, while he's doing that, I love that the lasting legacy of Tom Bassam is getting to the explicit sign on Apple Podcasts.
I tell you what, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that France did actually finish 5th, so that is important. However, you are correct. GB did not finish 3rd. Japan did, and I think someone did say Japan. So I'm just going to say bonus points are off the table for that question.
Oh, this is the shambles.
Apologies. GB actually finished 7th. Anyone know who finished 6th? I'll get 2. I'll give a bonus point for that. Who finished
But
6th?
can I just say, I said Japan third.
Yeah, I know. It's why bonus points are off the table. So actually, there you go. You can have a free hit.
That was the question.
Yeah, I know. That's why bonus points are off the table.
Fine, go.
That was my mistake. Apologies. It was Netherlands. All bonus points are off the table. Question 2. Name the clubs that voted with Manchester City FC in the recent APT, bonus point for what APT stands for, regulations meeting.
We have a buzz over here.
Can you say how many before I?
Yeah, well, if you can name all of them, I'd hope you can count how many there are. But if you can't,
Aston Villa.
Correct.
Nottingham Forest.
Correct.
I think there was one other, at least.
Newcastle.
Correct. We're off and running.
Delightful. There we go.
Do we get a bonus point for saying it stands for Associated Party Transactions?
We didn't ding, so that's
It
a
stands
treat,
for
yeah.
Associated Party Transactions.
So unfortunately for you, Ed, that is 2 points to Team Bassam and Carp.
Mate, everyone knows that these days.
You are Team 1, aren't you? So apparently I have to keep score ridiculously. So that's 2 points to Team 1, 0 points to Team 2. Question, actually, before we go into that, Steve or Ed, I'm going to pass over to you now. Can you run me through what the Associated Party transaction regulations were and why this meeting was quite a big deal?
Are there any points on offer for this?
No, unfortunately
Well,
not.
nice.
This is just your job.
Basically, it's to do with the 115 charges that Manchester City are facing, and we've done a podcast on this, and I was very behaved. It's to do with basically Associated Party transaction rules are they determine, I guess, fair value of commercial partnerships with entities that have a relationship with the club. So in Manchester City's case, deals with Etihad, who are their shirt sponsor, is to ensure that they aren't getting around profit and sustainability rules by artificially inflating the price of commercial deals. Manchester City won a court case, basically forced the Premier League to change its rules. Whether it could enforce them was up for debate. I can't remember the specific changes for that vote. Tom, you might be able to say a bit more on this.
Yeah, I think, well, the main one that got changed, and the only reason I remember this is because it affects my beloved Brighton Hove Albion, is that now shareholder loans are no longer permitted to be counted, to be omitted from your profit and sustainability rules. So Tony Bloom can no longer just lend Brighton money at a really low rate, willy-nilly, to pay for things like, stadiums and training grounds. Arsenal, also another club that has a lot of shareholder loans at low rates. So those loans now have to be done at fair market value, which is obviously a little bit bigger than 0%.
Well, as an Arsenal fan, it's good for me, in the words of Curtis from the online meme.
Without wanting to turn this into the SportsPro podcast legal episode, this has kind of shone a light into the tensions between the Premier League and its clubs and the continuing ones, and it's almost a precursor for the various other charges that City's facing, and that is due to come to a head. According to who you read, it could happen this month. Realistically, it's going to be next year. So, lots more legal fun to follow.
More importantly, 2-0 right now. That's all that matters.
Yeah, true. That is a strong start from you both. Now, I'm expecting a strong comeback here from Ed and Steve for questions. I do have a question 3, but I've forgotten to write down the answer, so we may have to skip past that.
Hosting has really plummeted this year.
This is why I'm no longer in the role. Question number 3. Which cities hosted NFL international games this season?
Ding.
Well, off the bat.
Sao Paulo.
Yes, correct.
Munich.
Correct.
London.
Correct.
Mexico City.
Yeah, Mexico is wrong.
Mexico is definitely right.
Mexico is wrong. This is the problem with getting the first question wrong. Is I now have unbelievable anxiety that I've missed some out because they're the only 3 I have on my list. Is that right? I'm asking the participants of the quiz whether the question's right. But my understanding is there are only 3 cities that host international games this
I
season.
said 3, so they're 3.
Yeah, but you then said Mexico.
Yeah, but
You didn't stop.
tradition dictates correct. My point to Pez 6 Adriano.
Don't worry, relax. We're just chewing the fat on the NFL international fixtures.
In the interest of competitive balance, I reckon we just give them the points.
Yeah,
But, I really
Stop
do think...
undermining my authority, Tom. I decide who
Try
gets
having
points.
some authority in the first place, George. Like maybe just award the points when they've got the answer right.
A very fair comeback, and one that I will take on board and implement. So correct. So you have a point, Steve, and I don't want to hear any more.
Before we moved on, I don't want it going down the record. You're giving us point out of the kindness of your heart, where that's literally the quiz.
Pity points. That's
Yeah.
all they are for
That's
you.
correct.
Bonus point. Exciting to get on to even kills. Which cities are being added to the roster for 2025? There was a buzz in there first, but I'm going to give right of way for having answered it correctly first.
I don't actually know the rules. Is this like University Challenge where if you get a question right, the bonus one, you would then get first refusal on that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's next year. It's
Madrid.
Yeah, live that from Ed. Clarify the rules and hand over the mic immediately.
no, it's Madrid.
Is that it?
You tell me, you're the quizmaster.
Yeah, is that, well, after the Mexico City debacle, I need to make sure you're locked in. Final answer, Madrid?
Yes, that's looking at
Correct. Well done. Back yourself, Steve. Correct.
You got to put a full stop at the end of every answer.
I know this quiz is meant to be like,
have
have I got news for you or something like that, where the score doesn't really matter, but this is shambles, isn't
I
it?
wish it was of the
I
quality
have
of
so
how I
little
got
confidence.
news.
I'm sort of, if you ask me how to spell my name, I'd be like, ugh.
Well, I'm going to try not to take that personally, Ed. Question number 4, which is, now this is a difficult question. So the question is, how much is Liberty Media paying for MotoGP?
Ding.
However, before I allow that ding, because I'm going to ask you, not is the actual transaction value, what does that put the enterprise value of MotoGP at? Because, I'm no investment banker, let me tell you, but it is a bit of a complex structure. So, Ed, you did ding. Give me some numbers. I'll give you the closest $100 million, which is petty cash, obviously, but $100 million closest to.
$4.5 billion.
Incorrect. Oh, I've got it in euros. So, I'm going to need...
You just...
I'm going to need a euro figure.
Get that converter out, mate.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
asked for it in dollars.
So, did I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, it's about euros. That's about 4.25 or 4.3.
4.2. I'm going to give you that. Yeah. Well done. An excellent maths. I'm not going to check it, but that's the number I have. 4.2 billion euros. Well done, Ed. That's 3-2. Question number... Actually, before we go into question number 5, who is going to run me through that deal? Liberty Media, the owners of Formula One, of course, going into MotoGP.
Essentially, Liberty Media are going to look to try and replicate the success. Well, it probably would be too simple to view that Liberty Media is going to do what it did for F1 that it's going to do for MotoGP, essentially. I mean, there's no doubt that it's going to lean into certain best practices, try and increase its presence in the US market, things like that. But they are vastly different series when it comes to fan bases, reach, and all the rest of it. I guess beyond that, is it the biggest hint yet that Liberty Media might be selling F1? I don't think it will, but maybe it's a slight indication of that. But also, there's quite a lot going on at Liberty at the moment. I mean, Greg Maffey's leaving at a crucial time, the organisation. So
Remind our listeners who that is.
the CEO. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. It's 3-2 to Team Ed and Steve. So, question number 5, and this is the final question for Fastest Fingers First. Who, beyond myself, will not be at Wimbledon in 2025? Well, hang on, I need to finish the question, Tom. Who will not be at Wimbledon any longer in 2025?
Buzz. There's a lot of right answers to this, technically.
Yeah, that is true. I probably should clarify that. I'm sure there's a lot of people. The churn rate at Wimbledon is very high. Let's assume that. However,
So if it's not Andy Murray,
yeah, that's a good answer as well. Unlimited points on offer. No, what is big news, essentially, who won't be coming back to Wimbledon in 2025? What group of people?
I hope it's 2025, not later on, but is it the line judges?
Correct. It is the line judges. Well done, Tom. So, Tom, do you want to talk me through that?
Technology, baby. It's replacing people, finally. We can all go back to just like leisure. It's going to be great. Those line judges are going to be... Oh, God, I hope none of them are listening. Sorry, line judges. Tennis has been testing automatic line judges for a while. You have the Hawkeye system. They use an automatic line judging thing at ATP Next Gen, which used to be in London and is now in Turin. I think this is the first major to announce they're going to go line judge less. And it's going to be, so going to have automated things. Steve looks really cross over there.
No.
Is this just because he got the tech question wrong? Or didn't get the answer?
We could have answered that question by looking at estimates of the globe's population and minusing it by the capacity of Wimbledon over 15 days as to who's not going to Wimbledon, but I digress.
Insurrection will not be tolerated, Steve, but continue.
I'm pro-tech in sport, obviously. It's my role relates to it. But I do think there's a case for Wimbledon, given that commercial optimization isn't the priority for Wimbledon. I think as a tournament, it feels kind of weird that a tournament that could afford to have line callers, there's not necessarily too many mistakes, and you've got Hawkeye to correct it. Does it feel like there's a massive delay in the points as well? I think Wimbledon, everything's about tradition. Perhaps should keep the line judges in place for tournaments around the world. Like an ATP 250, it makes absolute sense to have line callers. And then there's the question of where you get the next generation of umpires from. Lots of umpires do the job because they know there's a chance of them going to Wimbledon, because it's not really a great paid, well-paid gig. So I'm not sure it's the best move. The other thing is, I don't know if the US Open, Australian Open uses this technology already, but I mean, the US Open, it's a massive commercial entity. Everything's about the bottom line, whereas Wimbledon, just always feels like it's put itself a bit higher than that.
I was just going to say, is Roland Garros the only one that still uses line judges of the majors?
Or doesn't have Hawkeye, rather than still use judges?
But that's because you can mark a ball on the clay.
And sometimes unsuccessfully, I should add. So
yeah, France, way behind.
I'm all for it. So that takes us at the end of round 1, Stevens at 3-3.
Nice. What does the winner of this quiz get? Does the winner get to decide the future host of the Sports Pro podcast? Is that?
That's not on the table, unfortunately. But Sam, I would be a very poor host if I let you open your Christmas presents on Christmas Eve. So you'll have to wait until a bit later.
The real quiz is throwing a kettle over the pub later. So
I thought you said throwing a kettle.
The office.
Okay.
GB's more of a US office man.
Yeah, I am a US office man, I must say, for my sins. But speaking of my sins, let's look into round 2. Fans of Peep Show might know this as Number Wang. It's essentially going to be a auction where I'm going to say how many of X can you name in 1 minute, and we're going to have opposing bids. So let's say, as an example, how many Premier League teams can you name? One person bids on 8, let's say, then you can counter with 10. Another group can counter with 12 or 13 or whatever it may be. Once you think you've got to your maximum amount, I'll ask you to name them. If you're incorrect, however many below that, actually no, that's too harsh. I was going to say your doctor point, because that would be just 0-0 at the end of the quiz.
Not enough points to dock me.
Yeah, I know. That's how it will work. So we'll start off with everyone's favourite list of top 10s, which is SportsPro's top 10 influencers. So I'll open up the biddings at 4, but how many of SportsPro's top 10 influencers can either of you name? 2024. No one's listening to the back catalogue in 2026. Steve.
Some of those picks have aged like milk as well.
Yeah.
How many have you got, mate?
4's the minimum.
I think I can
minimum
see
bid.
most of them, but actually...
Didn't you write the piece, Sam?
No. It's a collaborative effort, mate. Sports Pro byline.
Yeah, we're all responsible for this.
So who's going to bid at 4?
Yeah, we'll come in at 4.
4. Tom and Sam in a 4. Stephen Ed? 3, 2, going once. Going twice.
No, should we let them go for 4?
Yeah.
Let's let them go for 4.
Oh, wow. I was expecting a real... Woo! Yeah. Wow.
Oh, no, yeah, I thought there's a counter bid, isn't it, process? Yeah, fine.
You guys like ice cream under a hot light, melting at the first opportunity.
Lionel Messi,
Correct.
Marina Storti, who was on the Sports Pro podcast.
Correct. Nearly a bonus point for the plug.
Jamie Pitaro.
Jimmy
Jimmy.
Patarin. Thought I'd test you there.
Although probably his full name is James. So
3 out of 4.
And Nikki Doucette.
Correct. That's 4.
Should we try and... We've lost the point. Should we just try and do the 10? Who else?
I completely agree.
Danny Townsend.
Correct. 5.
oh, another former guest on the Sports Pro podcast. Actually, that's 3 former guests on the Sports Pro podcast.
There are a few from Nikki Doucette as well.
Yeah.
Former guest on the Sports Pro
Jay
podcast.
Monahan was in there, I think.
Yes.
Somehow.
Sam Altman.
Correct. We're up to 7.
Didn't get sound this year, sadly.
No. Next year.
Did you say Paris 2024?
Yeah.
The sports minister.
Is it Amelie?
No. Amelie, yeah.
It's Amelie. Yeah.
Udaya Castera. I'm going to give that. So we're up to 8.
Viacom 18, but I cannot remember the person's name.
Anil Jairaj, CEO of
Yes,
Sports
that's
at
it.
Viacom 18.
Is that 10 or 9?
9. We've got one more, who I believe has also been on the Sports Pro podcast, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's worrying that I can't get it.
Kathy Engelbert.
Correct. Lovely work, that, Ed. Was she on the podcast?
No, we didn't have Kathy Engelbert this year. We did have the commissioner of the NWSL. But yeah, not Kathy Engelbert. Next year. Kathy, you're always welcome on.
That's all 10. So it's really disappointing that you guys ended the bidding at 4 when we actually got all 10 as a collaborative effort.
I kind of thought it was like countdown, but I'm not really sure.
Still don't know how that would work.
It's number wang, Steve. It's not countdown.
Oh, sorry. No, but if you said you could do 4 and we said 3, I don't know if that was, and then you go and get the 4 and we do the 3, that was kind of what I was thinking, but there's a counter bidding process, which it's quite good, George. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take the patronising tone with a pinch of salt, though, Steve. Next question is NWSL expansion teams since 2020. The list I found here was a little confusing, to say the least. The table, it says, has founded or joined. Now, I'm looking for the year, not looking for the year, sorry. The 2020 marker is the year they joined, not the year they were founded, because there is multiple year discrepancy in some cases.
Can I just ask, does this include teams that are going to be joining the league, say, next year?
No, because that wouldn't be joined, Ed, as I said earlier. That would be founded. That would be founded versus joined. You've perfectly highlighted the difficulty in trying to find the answer to these questions. Thank you very much, Ed.
Have you highlighted that difference in the answers?
I have in my answers. I have.
For listeners, George has got blood coming out of his nose.
I am a little nervous. So, NWSL expansion teams added since 2020. Answers on a postcard, please. We'll start the bidding at 1.
I think I can do 3.
Ooh, like it. Nice and bold start.
3.
But that's not enough.
I think that's a bid first and last round, so sure.
Well, we won, so...
Right, you're both bidding on 3. Anyone going to go for 4?
Aren't there more than 4 if you include ones that are going to be joining the league?
We've already established this.
Yeah, Ed, come on. We can't be going back to that. There are more than 4. I can tell you that for free.
I'll probably regret this, but no, we'll leave it there.
They backed out once again. Can't handle the fight.
Okay, so I'm going to say San Diego Wave.
Yep, correct.
Angel City.
Correct.
There's a team in Utah, the Royals, who left and then came back again.
Correct.
Not technically a new team.
No, they've been an expansion team added since 2020. So that's the last time on the rules. So that's 3 out of 4. The Wave, the Royals, Angel City FC.
St. Louis City SC.
I'm going to give you that because I'm feeling very generous, but it's Racing Louisville FC.
Oh, come
But,
on.
Yeah, exactly. So St.
Did
Louis
you just say
FC versus
St. Louis SC from Major League Soccer?
Oh, God, yeah.
It's-
That's so wrong.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give him that. But Steve has unfortunately corrected. That was the men's.
And Kansas City Current.
Did you say Kansas City Current? Correct. That's 4. So well played.
So you can just say wrong answers until you get it right.
No, I just revised it because I was, I
was-
just wanted to test.
Also, he actually didn't submit it as an answer.
Yeah, I was just
sort
kinda-
of rounded it. So it's my fault if anyone's.
I was muttering into them.
There's one more.
Yeah.
There's one more. So Racing Louisville and Kansas City Current. San Diego Wave, Utah Royals, Angel City FC. That's 5. There's one more, as far as I'm aware.
Bay FC one?
Bay FC, well done. Bay FC,
And another expansion team is due to be announced before the end of this year.
which is?
What we don't know.
You meant to have the scoop said. Come on.
It's one of like 2 markets, and I can't remember what the markets are because I keep this is sort of more of a general point really. The WNBA and the NWSL, they've been pretty prolific with their expansion over the last couple of years. Burgeoning interest in the league, rapidly expanding interest, valuations are going up. Not trying to take this away from the NWSL, but the WNBA has had record year for attendances and viewership, and this was also a year where the NWSL signed a record-breaking broadcast deal, so it's all fueling. So they're the 2 sort of leading sports properties in the US, and a lot of other sort of up-and-coming leagues like the PWHL are sort of hoping to follow their lead.
Interesting. So that takes us a bit of a golf in class here. It's now 5-3 to Team Tom and Team Sam.
Every year I swear I'm not going to take this too seriously, and then
When you get upset, I can see you getting a little upset. Well, we're all friends here.
Don't play next year, Steve.
I like this too much.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you, Steve. Question number 3, and this is also the final round of Number Wang. So from today until the end of 2034, how many nations will host FIFA men and... Oh, I've only researched men's. So unfortunately, we're going to have to stick with men's. But how many nations are hosting FIFA World Cup men's World Cup matches between today and 2034?
I'll let you bid, just out of the kindness of my heart.
I'm going to qualify this because one of the hosts hasn't been confirmed yet. I'm going to go for 9.
9? That is so punchy. Okay, I'll tell you what then. If you get all these right, they're all 9. That's all 9. So the bidding's just shut.
Well, what if I offered 10 and said I could do the women's one as well?
We'd have to take a brief pause while I went back on Wikipedia.
No, I'll let Steve try and let them try and flounder tonight.
Apologies to FIFA Women's World Cup fans. So Steve, take me away, both in heart and mind, with these 9 nations hosting.
So the United States,
9 nations hosting. Sorry. United States.
Canada,
Correct.
Mexico,
Mexico City or Mexico?
the Republic of Mexico,
So you got the 3 North American nations.
Spain,
Yep.
Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
Morocco,
Mm-hmm.
Uruguay,
Correct.
Argentina,
Correct.
Paraguay.
It's incredible. Incredible. It's actually just beautiful to see that.
That's patronising.
That's 4.
But of course, because there's only one bid for 2034, but it's still yet to be ratified. Although this took me by such surprise that it's got the highest awarded bid document ever.
That's what we should be applauding.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Incredible. What was it at 4.2?
billion euros.
fair play. Did not see that coming. They've definitely put all stops there.
For some stadiums that aren't yet built as well, which is really, really impressive.
Great mock-ups though.
Hell of a set of mock-ups. Those renderings.
Yeah, wow.
There's been some serious advances in digital twins and computer-aided design in the last decade, and I think that's just coming through to the fore.
And you can listen to that on an episode with Populous. So it all comes back to the pod in the end.
So that takes us to 5-4 in the leaderboard. 5 to Team Tom and Sam, 4 to Team Ed and Steve. We've been easy on the bonus points, actually, which has made keeping score much simpler than previous years. Round 3, he said, she said. So beyond this being another round of office politics that we love to play, I want you to match the quote to the speaker. So, quote, we'll start nice and simple, is we don't have to have the NBA.
Ding.
Team Steve and Team Ed.
David Zaslav, the chief executive of Warner Brothers Discovery.
Beautifully done. Well, as soon as he got a bit rolled up saying he wasn't taking this seriously and now is, he's roared back into contention. It's 5-5. Steve, I hope that back's okay, carrying the team as much as you have been. Ed is shaking his head with disdain at me. Question number 2. Who or what described some Premier League clubs as exercising a tyranny of the majority?
It was Steve McCaskill's favourite Manchester club, Manchester City.
Manchester City is correct.
And this is in their
Apologies to any Manchester listeners for that accent.
Yeah.
Andy Tate.
At least they didn't try and like the Oasis lyric or something like that. Yeah, obviously this is again, back to what we talked about earlier with the 115 charges, but this was again part of that earlier legal challenge to get some of these associated party transaction rules changed. But yeah, tyranny of the majority, which is quite an interesting quote from the legal team of Manchester City when talking about the clubs that they play alongside in the league. Can't imagine that landed particularly well with some, but I thought that was a very punchy piece of news that when it came out that they were trying to sue the Premier League. I don't think it augurs well for the future of that competition and the harmony amongst the big clubs, but an interesting story nonetheless.
The APT transactions probably feed into that directly. That puts Tom and Sam back into the lead, but who knows? Steve may come roaring back and Ed will be with him whilst he does that. Question number 3. Who said that never is a focusing word? And then end of quote. My addition. That helps team concentrate on present objectives. And then he added, it's not that we're being dishonest with ourselves. Conditions change and climates change. And let's not focus too much on the climate change aspect of that, as I did on Google when researching this quote. So who said that never is a focusing word? Part A. And B, it's not that we're being dishonest with ourselves. Conditions change and climates change.
Tom Bassam on the SportsPro podcast.
Incorrect. We'll have to pass it over. That was a
Way for
bizarre
carrying
free hit.
the team, Steve.
That's not probably the easiest quote to find. Have you got a clue about what this could be about, maybe?
Oh, that's a good question. So I can give a couple of clues. So when this is quite an elongated clue, but when Mike Tyson retired, he probably said he'd never box again. But if you consider the person who said these words, maybe that wasn't quite true.
Ding.
Was it the Netflix CEO?
Correct. Name? I need a name.
Ted
Sarandos.
Beautifully done as a little double act there. The Chuckle Brothers deliver once again. So
Ed really took that comment about carrying on the back to heart.
yeah, I know.
I took it personally.
It's been drinking Huel for 3 days in preparation for this.
Did anyone watch the Netflix extravaganza, by the way, in this room?
The Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
The pseudo boxing match.
No, I didn't. It was on at a ridiculous hour, our time, wasn't it? And it's definitely not the type of thing that I was going to wake up for. Although I did wake up for Conor McGregor against Floyd Mayweather way back when. Equally as bad, I think.
I didn't watch the fight itself. I did see the interview he did where he walked off just in his jockstrap, and we got a lovely view of a 54-year-old man's arse.
It was a truly bizarre moment. It was like some sort of teen comedy. That's a point for Team Steve and Team Ed. I'm going to offer a bonus point and throw the cat once again amongst the figurative pigeons. So what was he talking about?
Large sports rights.
Correct, Tom. Look at that. Keeps edging ahead. Oh, hand up from Ed.
There was no buzz.
But it's his last podcast, so I'm going to give it to him anyway. That takes the scores to, I think it's 7-6? No, 6-all. 6-all.
Yeah, whatever. It's Christmas, I don't know. Who cares?
Oh, no, it's 7-6. It's 7-6 because you answered correctly. Ted Sarandos, Netflix to go evens, and then Tom edged ahead. It's 7-6. Final question for this round, and this will hopefully tie it up because I have a fantastic tiebreaker question, which I'll ask anyway. But it would be nice to have some jeopardy. So, who described doing what as Tiger Woods entering the PGA Tour type moment? Oh, beautiful.
The WNBA's chief marketing officer, I think, Phil Cook.
Wonderful. Former speaker at SportsPro events.
Ed's been living off this line for months, so he was delighted when this quote came up.
I trotted this out in so many interviews for 50mm. It was unbelievable.
Ironically, this was in an interview given to myself, and I didn't get the answer.
What was it in relation to?
So it was in relation to Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA, and it goes back to a point I made earlier. I mean, he wasn't wrong. Yeah, she has sort of led the sort of turbocharged interest in the WNBA this year. I mean, her and a pretty standout draft class, to be honest. You've got Angel Reese, among others as well. But, I mean, we won't make this the Caitlin Clark podcast, and we've done a lot of episodes on her, which you can...
We might have got more lessons if we did.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah, exactly. But it's been transformative for the league, the impact that she's had, particularly among casual viewers as well. So, and, it's year one.
Well, on the subject of Caitlin Clark, I consume SportsPro content like a person in the desert finding an oasis. I slurp it up, one might say. But one of the pieces I most enjoyed this year was, Sam, sorry to put you on the spot, your breakdown of some of Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA after we released SportsPro's 50 most marketable athletes and the impacts that women's basketball players are having, particularly in comparison to their male counterparts and how they're over-indexed. Can you talk me through the Caitlin Clark effect a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as Ed said, a lot of the headlines have been about Caitlin Clark, but I think I think the growth of the WNBA is about more than her, and we're seeing basically college athletes come into the league now with huge followings on social media, and I think that was kind of reflected in 50mm. We saw about was it 8 women's basketball players, I think, possibly 7, 8. But
They had more athletes on the list than any other league in 50mm this year.
so there you go. That just kind of speaks to the growing profile, and that they're doing a lot with the following that they've got as well, and that's kind of the WNBA is benefiting from that.
It was a hell of a newsletter. So I would recommend, if you're on Boxing Day and, you've had enough of the Boxing Day sandwiches, tuck into that. Now that, excitingly, ties us at 7-all. So we have a tiebreaker question for a prize that I will define a little later when I think of it. It's been many years, some great times, and some even better times. Tom Bassam, as your Sports Pro career sadly closes this chapter, the tiebreaker question is, in all of those years, how many articles has Tom written and been published on the Sports Pro website? Now, I appreciate there's a lot more we could have gone with here, but I want articles on the website.
Do we all get a guess each?
Everyone gets a guess each.
I'm going to go for 2,800.
Wow. You really do think your colleague is a prolific writer?
He's not written anything for about 2 years.
Oh yeah, that is actually quite true.
The fear in your eyes is palpable.
I think, his Sports Pro website publishing career sort of front loaded a bit, but I'm going to say 2,500.
2.5K. Sam?
I'm going to drop down to 2,100.
Tom?
Well, I'll bottom out and just take everything below 1,900.
Tom is correct. The number I actually have is 1,600 plus.
Work shy freeloader.
Yeah.
Steve writes that many in a week.
Yeah.
More fool him.
However, it is with hundreds of podcasts, multiple off-platform pieces as well. Tom Bassam OPE in the Royal Honours list. It really has been, in all senses, it really has been a pleasure, Tom. You'll be significantly missed around the place, not just for your professional output, but for your
Writing this
smiley and
quiz.
acerbic take on things around the gaff. I, wish you absolutely all the best going forward. It's been a complete pleasure sharing the mic with you over the year or so that we did it. Tom and Sam, congratulations. You're the winner of this year's Christmas quiz. The winner of that is a media package with me of £10,000. No, the prize will be announced at the Christmas party, again, once I find it, during the course of the afternoon. But thank you very much to everyone for participating. Thanks for embracing the chaos, and happy Christmas to everyone listening at home.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas and good luck, Tom.
Yeah, good luck, mate.